If you are someone that is dealing with nagging pain in the front of your knee, particularly with going downstairs, going downhill, squatting or lunging, it can be really difficult to navigate that pain and still continue to train lower body. A lot of times rehab programs will have you just avoid aggravating movements altogether, in which case you may feel better short term, but then as soon as you start doing those movements again, the pain resumes. So what is the answer? The answer is we want to progressively and systematically start loading the front of the knee, loading the patellar tendon, loading the patellofemoral joint, and loading the quad muscle. There are certain movements we can do to make this more knee friendly, but overall you can't avoid these things long term if you actually want to get better. So in this video, what I'm going to do is show you my favorite entry point to start working on loading the front of the knee. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with a wall sit exercise. You've probably done some variation of it before. But for this rehab purpose, we want to be really specific about our setup, our prescription of the movement, so how long we're holding, how frequently we're doing it, how we're tweaking the setup. So this is probably going to be a little bit different than how you've done a wall sit before, so don't write this off, keep watching. First of all, I go to single leg right away. The reason for that is we know from research that with ongoing anterior knee pain, your quad is likely weaker. That doesn't mean quad weakness caused the knee pain. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't, but we know that those two things go hand in hand. So by going to a single leg movement right away, we can make sure that your good side is not compensating for the bad side. Secondly, I like to use a squat wedge or a mobility wedge. The reason for this is the angle is going to change our shin angle, which will make it easier to start loading the front of the knee with a less aggressive knee bend. So normally as we approach a deeper knee bend, we get more of that pain, we get more stress through the patellar tendon. By incorporating the use of a squat wedge, we can still load the knee in less of a range of motion and hopefully get more quad recruitment without pissing off the knee joint. So in early stages of rehab, we want to prescribe this movement frequently. So we're going to do isometric holds, meaning you're going to get into that position, you're going to hold it. I want you to build up to a minute hold time. We want to do this at least daily. The idea for this is that we're going to do a low dose, so it's super low threatening, but B, isometrics can actually help modulate pain. So just doing this isometric may reduce your knee pain. So you can tweak your setup here. So how close to the wall or how far away from the wall your wedge and your foot goes will depend on how you feel symptomatically. So the closer to the wall your foot goes, the more your shin bone travels forward, the more stress through your knee. So you may move it a little bit closer, a little bit farther away, depending on how you tolerate this. But basically the leg we're trying to train is going to go on the squat wedge. The squat wedge is angled downward away from the wall. I know the squat wedge is black, my floor is black, so it may be difficult for you to see. The other leg, what I like to do for just a balance point is I'll go ahead and just kind of kick it into the wall here. We're going to drop down into a knee bend that is tolerable. What you ideally want to feel is mostly quad contraction, and I'm thinking about really actively squeezing my quad muscle the whole time I'm doing this, but mostly quad and then just a little bit in the front of the knee. If it feels mostly front of the knee, less quad, you're going to adjust either how close or how far away your foot is, or you may even adjust the knee angle of bending, so you may come out of that a little bit. We don't have to move into a deep knee bend to get loading through the knee. So to start with, I build up to 1 minute holds, perform this a couple times a day. See if it's helping with pain, see if we're able to really get a good quad recruitment without pissing off the knee joint, and then from there we can progress to other activities, other quad loading activities. But this is a really great entry point that I like to use with a lot of clients that are suffering from that anterior knee pain.